Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to chat about drones, what business they have in the business world, and the value of doing it, and the fact that it's now in consumers' reach. Today I've got Nick, myself, Ryan, Jake, Chad. Let's get social. All right, so we brought a couple of drones from our office today. Each of these are kind of novelty, fun toys that we've been playing with, but we've noticed a trend in the last few months where people are using drones in a business sense. And Atomic is going to start investing in materials like that as well for video recording, so we can get some different angles. And it's actually becoming quite affordable now in the marketplace, and it provides us with a high quality level of work at a more economical and reasonable price. What are your thoughts on that, Nick?
Um, Honestly, I don't know a ton about drones. I know that a lot of business are taking a lot of advantage of it. It's a lot cheaper than sending, like Amazon, for instance, is working on trying to ship items with drones. It's a lot cheaper than sending them on airplanes or hiring someone to drive everything out. So now they have a something that they're not really paying anyone for. It's an automatic thing, and it just ships it, and it's done faster, cheaper, and safer.
Hmm.
Um, so a lot of people are doing stuff like that. Video work, a ton of people are using them for video work. Um, I mean, they're a pretty big thing right now.
So since you're the video guy, what are some of like the pros and cons for using drones for video?
Well, in a production, like back in the day, they would have had to hire helicopters. They would have had, which
No.
for one is somewhat dangerous, anyways. Helicopters are a pretty dangerous thing, especially
Expensive.
having and extremely expensive. You have to have a pilot, you have to have a camera crew, and a big enough helicopter to hold a camera crew. Um, Nowadays, you can slap a camera on a drone, you can fly that thing around, and if you crash it, you're out a couple $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a camera.
Yeah. I mean, there's high-end drones as well too, and high-end cameras that you can
Yeah.
put on them.
Yeah.
You can kind of spin to your heart's desire, but there's a company out of China too that's kind of making waves as far as their low-cost, affordable
Yep.
drones with, over 4K
Mhm.
capture on the cameras as well. I love that you brought up Amazon. I know they've been fighting
That's a big one.
is it
right
the
now.
FCC or no?
I'm
Is it
not-
FAA.
FAA. Fighting the FAA on getting rights to that. Part of my thoughts is you have a drone drop something off. What's to stop somebody from just keeping the drone, parting it out at that point as well?
Yep. I'm sure they have some sort of security system with that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a quick drop off or something.
Yeah,
along
it
those
is.
lines.
They just drop it off right in front of your house, and it flies away.
I hope they call it like the Santa drop or something.
Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah.
is coming.
But now kids will actually believe that Santa's real. Except Santa won't be driving
But I mean,
reindeers.
here's
He'll
the
be
thing: is
driving a
if
drone.
it's shipping it to your house, they have your address.
Yeah.
Why would you steal it? That's just asking for trouble.
Unless your neighbor gets one.
That's what I was going to say. What about the one guy who's just driving down the street? Oh, there's a drone. That's mine.
Yeah.
I imagine, and with it being Amazon, they'll probably, have cameras on them. And
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
well,
man.
have to. I mean, somebody's going to be
They'll
flying
be
it. So,
very high end.
yeah.
They would have to be.
Do you think that's going to create jobs for people to manually control or just
I think it's going
observe
to be
and report
all
with it?
automated. I mean, we've flown drones, and you see how often we crash them. I feel like, I mean, they could hire somebody to do that, but I think the whole point of that is to not hire someone. Kind of goes into the whole robotics.
Yeah.
If jobs
Ah.
are created by that, it might be due to like repairing the drones.
Yeah,
or something
repairing
along those lines.
drones, which is probably going to become a pretty good trait to learn.
So what
Yeah.
you're saying is these things would be on pretty much just not test pilot, but
Autopilot?
autopilot the whole time.
Yeah. Well, they already have technology where they have drones. You'll fly them out, but then they have a home button,
Mhm.
and they'll actually fly back to the destination that they started at. So
Okay.
they already have GPS systems in
Right.
them, and they can that technology's already there.
Yeah.
They're just gonna have it on a much higher scale, and I don't think it'd be something where they're gonna be flying them around the entire world or something. I mean, they'll probably have certain locations that they can do it within like a certain mile
Yeah.
radius,
Yeah.
and that's
So then
how
this
they
is
would
another
do it.
example of where we cut out the middleman for delivery.
Yep.
Interesting.
I think it's just interesting that drones in general are becoming such a consumer product, but also, like we were mentioning before, businesses are now using them, whether it be for video or whether it be for delivery or whatever else. Just fascinating.
And it's not even just like stuff like Amazon. It's not like shipping stuff and just video stuff or anything like that. I've heard farmers are starting to use them.
Yeah,
They're
so-
great for them because they can put whatever they need to,
Monitor crops.
monitor crops, so they have a full overview of their crops to see where they're having problems.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can drop whatever stuff on the crops that they need to water 'em or whatever with the drones. I don't know. I don't know the extent of that, but I know that they've been using it. They've talked about police starting to use it to monitor, I don't know,
Or even
situations.
think about it. You don't have to use a helicopter anymore if somebody's on.
Yeah.
If you're on
Yeah.
a foot patrol, you can
Yeah,
just use a drone.
I mean it's safer. You're not sending people out
Right.
into dangerous situations. You have a drone going out, and
Hmm.
which the military's been doing that for a while as well. It's keeping soldiers safe and everything.
So another use for this, we've talked business, I mean recreational too. Chad and I watched a video, I don't know if you guys saw it, about the gentleman fishing in the ocean. He found a giant school of tuna cruising around, used the drone to fly up over to spot them, and then also had a trigger on his drone that could drop a line, a baited line, into the water that's still hooked up to his fishing line.
Mhm.
So
I wonder.
kind of takes the guesswork out of fishing, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you're fishing for food or survival or
Or if it's a commercial,
absolutely,
for sure.
yeah, to get in a boat, I mean, you don't even have the view of it
Yeah.
from that angle. If you ever gone fishing, you get up high, you see where the fish are at.
That's exciting news for you and Chad.
That's right.
So here's my question: is where do they go from here? I mean, right now, when you really fly, like when you go fly American Airlines or Delta or anybody, most of the time they're on autopilot the whole way.
Oh yeah.
So are we gonna head that direction where we completely take the human out of the flying scenario and it's just a drone?
Personally, I don't think that it'll ever get to that point where we're gonna have commercial airlines flying with a couple hundred people in it without having some sort of pilot, some sort of backup. Now they may make it mostly automated,
Right.
but they're always, I think, gonna have that backup, someone there to monitor it and everything, just in case anything happens. I mean, technology breaks all the time.
Yeah.
The last thing you need is 200 people on a plane, and then the technology breaks, and there's no one to back it up.
Well, the only reason I even asked that is because, there's recreational use and there's business use, and first and foremost, it was defense use, and now they're saying that the Air Force is probably done making jets. They're not gonna order more jets anymore because they can just use these drones. That was
There's
this
almost
week that
no
was
point
talked
to
about.
have
Yeah.
them in that situation, because you're really just putting people in danger having them fly out.
Right.
Yeah. But now they can, we can send a drone from here to wherever we need to in the world and not have anybody in danger over it.
Right.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
So you're going to have pilots that manage these on either commercial or, I mean, it's hobbyists now. That's who's getting interest. There's a huge consumer market for these things. my kids have drones. They play with them. I like building drones.
Mhm.
Getting the parts is economical, and you get to experiment and learn how they work. I definitely see a huge market for it in the future. Are there any other positions? I mean, you were talking about maintenance earlier, and the people managing and maintaining these is just like with cars. There's things that go wrong, and
Right.
do you think there's going to be personal things that people are going to do with these, like sending them into a grocery store, or seems silly, but I mean, you think they're going
personally,
to
I
water
just-
your dogs and sweep your
They-
house, fold your
They could
laundry?
get to that point. I mean, it sounds crazy right now, but so did everything else before it happened.
Sure.
So I think, I mean, there's a lot of space for drones right now. They're a pretty big thing right now, and they can only further the technology. So I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah, we didn't have toys like these when we were kids, but all of our
No.
kids have it now,
Hmm.
and they're mastering it. I
Yeah.
mean, what are they going to come up with in the future?
Right.
And talking, I mean, even personal flight. There was a guy who built the first, I think it was a six rotor quad that picked him up and floated him around.
Yep.
So personal aviation.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, there's that. I mean, that could start potentially changing cars in the future.
Again, that'll come down to the FAA, but
Well, yeah,
Not the FCC.
not the FCC.
Well, I don't know. I've seen people.
I mean,
drive.
if people are going to fly for sport or for a hobby, I get that. But if they're going to be doing it for travel, I don't know if we're getting close to that yet. That's not
well,
very.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say we're getting close to that yet, but there's potential. People have already made vehicles with these
Yeah.
that they can actually ride,
Mhm.
and yeah, they're not street legal,
Yeah.
obviously, but
Sky legal, you mean?
sky legal. But I mean, it's not like he went that high.
Yeah.
You know, he really did. The car's on the ground, but he wasn't much higher off the ground.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the guy who made that ended up flying over water as well too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the longest flight or whatever there was, and this wasn't recent either. This was a little while back.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, as people invent and experiment and do things in their backyard, with this technology and gyros and balancing of these,
Hmm.
I mean, I think the technology has made these devices smart enough. You were talking about the Go Home
Yeah.
option with the GPS on these devices.
Mm.
You hit a button to tell it where you are, and then it comes back to you, even if it's in trouble.
Right.
These people are protecting their investments with technology that
And-
goes into it.
and
Low
it
battery
could-
mode comes
It could
back on.
potentially even be a safer way of travel. I mean, how many times are you on the road and you hit a pothole or a hole or something in the road and bust up your car?
Hmm.
That's not a problem with these. You don't hit potholes if you're in the air.
Yeah.
You don't have
if you go into a ditch or something, these are flying, so maybe that won't be as big of an issue anymore.
But we're having issues
Yeah.
with them right now invading airspace.
Yeah,
And it's a serious issue. I mean, they're talking about, people are getting arrested for this, for flying in the paths of airplanes, because if one of these gets sucked in there, we got a problem.
yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, it's safer to fly a plane or to travel by plane than it
They
is to
actually
travel by
test
car.
jet engines by throwing
Stuff into them.
stuff into
Mhm.
them.
But they say, like,
And
oh,
there's-
it makes a news headline, a drone almost hits airplane, and it's like, and it's not a defense drone, it's usually somebody that's using it for, hobby.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking about travel and everything, there's gonna be laws.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be laws. It's just like driving a car. You can't drive your car through the White House fence or something.
Right.
You get in a lot of trouble.
Mhm.
It'd be the same thing. You don't fly in commercial airspace. They already have commercial airspace.
Mhm.
They have coordinates that you're not supposed to be in.
Right.
And some people are just don't have that knowledge, but eventually that knowledge is going to be there. They're going to start doing that. It's the same thing as when you're driving a car and you have a no entrance sign or something. You don't drive your car into that no entrance sign, but we know that already.
Right.
Mhm.
Right now people don't know how that all works with the drones yet.
I'd love to see these get to the point, just like when you have paragliders
Mm-hmm.
that you can float around on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'd love to
that'd be
see
fun.
the technology evolve to the point where, you know, the system's smart enough that you can have a recreational activity.
We can go out to the beach and just hit the button and go up and then
Just hit
over the
button.
water.
Yeah, go for a tour.
Yeah. Or even go fishing.
Oh, fishing from the sky.
Don't even have to
Yeah.
have a boat. We just go out
Yeah.
and
With battery technology the way it is too, I mean, they're getting smaller and smaller and more powerful,
Mhm.
and you know, longer lifespans in those devices as well. So,
I mean, they got battery powered cars and
mhm.
everything.
yeah, Back to the Future starting to
Automated
come true.
cars,
Yeah.
cars that are self-driving. I mean, a self-piloting mini thing doesn't really seem like it's that significantly far away.
And it's probably not.
There's guys in their
There's-
backyards or in their offices down the hallway just cooking up stuff like
Right.
that. So,
Yep.
I'm still waiting on real hoverboards.
that's the year, right?
That might have something to do with the next hoverboard.
Yeah, could
Oh
be.
man.
I mean, a drone might be what we're using for the hoverboard. Something
Mm-hmm.
that keeps you off the ground by fan, not by magnetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would work on the water for Marty McFly at that point. So,
Yeah, we've already had someone fly over the water with these, so
yeah.
Yep. Point.
it's there.
So you guys have seen the, this is like an exaggerated version of a drone, but the guy who created in his backyard, the plumber who had the bike with the two propellers
Mm-hmm.
flying in his backyard of his
Mhm.
own, at his own risk
Yeah.
to do that. I mean, he's got the technology.
He's got the technology and he's got the guts.
The concept, yeah, he's brave enough to try it. So kudos to him. I mean, the Wright brothers had to fly their own plane too.
Yes, they
So
did.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, they've made these so simple, and people are actually learning how they work, and so we have just normal people like putting it to the test on different things, like putting them on bikes or whatever, and it's working. You know, they're taking these things apart and they're learning how the technology works.
Yep.
And I mean, that's kind of how all the innovating kind of works. You know, you take something apart and you learn how it works, and then you just improve it.
Yeah.
You know?
you don't have to be a mechanical engineer anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
No. You
At
don't
a
have to. You
base
don't have to
level.
go to school for this.
Especially when you can go over to Walmart and buy this thing for less than $100.
Right.
You know, so
Or
it's almost nothing out of your
Or this for
pocket.
15.
Yeah.
That
I
for
mean-
15, and you just take it apart, learn how it works, and then you can build one yourself.
Yep.
Right.
And it's not adults with engineering
Oh
degrees.
yeah.
At this point, these are
Yeah.
kids.
Right.
These are people who have taken affordable technology and are able to dig in and experiment with it.
Hmm.
I love it.
Very cool.
Any other thoughts on this, guys?
I'm just interested to see where we go from here.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you look at what's happened in the past 5 years with these, and now we go from, the military having them to, now we've got these flying around the office. I mean, it's amazing. It really is.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our conversation. And if you have any feedback or comments, please let us know. Reach out to us on social media. And until next time, we'll get social.